If I have said it once, I have said it 22,400 times. And that is that yo girl is not a naturally organized person, but I'm a very organized person. So if you are someone who's like me and thrives and lives in organized chaos, which is basically no organization at all, then I'm here to tell you how to become an organized person even when that's not your default. Hey, howdy, hey, it is a good day to make it a great day and go all in on those dreams you are dreaming. If you're brand new here, my name is Jessica Stansberry and I'm here to help you up-level your up-level. Like basically, if you want to go bigger and better than you've ever been before, I'm your girl, and help you go all in on your dreams and your goals and your ideas and your ambitions. So that sounds like something you would like to come back to every week. Make sure you hit subscribe so you don't ever miss another video from me. And while you're at it, make sure you hit the bell because then you'll get a notification that says Jessica has uploaded a new video. And you'll be like, oh my goodness, what is it today? How is this going to make my life better? All right. It's no secret. I've never kept it a secret that I am not an organized person. Actually, if I were to show you what the floor of my office looks like right now, it would definitely be something you would understand. I've got a heating pad laying in the floor. I've got a heater. You can tell I'm also a very naturally cold person. I've got a space heater. I've got a couple of baskets. I've got some free weights. I've got some 15-pound weights in my floor. And it's all kind of in a pile because I raked it over there as I needed to start filming this morning. I am not naturally organized. However, my house and my life right now are meticulously organized. And I knew I needed to make that change in order to be more successful, in order to up-level, in order to be a better human, in order to live a better, less stressful life. I knew that I needed to not constantly spend an hour every morning digging through clothes baskets full of clean clothes to find my children's clothes for the day. I knew that it would make me more productive, and I knew that it would make me happier, and for sure it has, and I want to give you my tips because, trust me, your girl was not born organized, okay? Okay, first and foremost is to have a dedicated space for all the things. Dedicated space. You want to know that if you are looking for a receipt, there is nowhere else in your house it could be. You want to know that if you were looking for that picture from 2011 of your baby at Halloween, that there's nowhere else on your computer that it might be. You want to know that if you are going to find a ladle to make your soup, that there's nowhere else it's going to be. And you want to know that those things will never be somewhere else, that you are never going to put them somewhere else because they have a home and they have a dedicated space. I made a rule when we moved into this house. So if you haven't been following me for a while, we moved in here almost a year ago, January of 2019. And when we moved in here, the rule was, and still is, even a year later, if it doesn't have a home in my home, it ain't staying here. And that applies to my kids' toys. That applies to junk that comes home from school. That applies to stuff that I bring home. That applies to stuff my husband brings home. That applies to everything. It also really helps me not buy extra of things. Like I don't need 42 ladles. Like that seems weird. I need like one. I can't think of an instance why I would need more. It helps me kind of keep things in order because everything has a space and a dedicated place and what I call a home. So have a home for everything. Be dedicated with where everything goes. My essential oils live in a certain place in my house. My blankets live in a certain place in my house. My pens live in a certain drawer in my office. My books live on a certain shelf. Like all of these things live in certain places, and that applies to digitally as well. The courses that I take, all their logins live in a certain place. The files that I have, they all live in a certain place. My file system, my digital file system, is organized in a way where I know where everything is. All my business files live in certain places and then in their own folders. All of my personal files live at a certain place. All of my pictures live in a certain place. So have dedicated places for these things that you accumulate, whether it's digitally or physically, to live That alone, if you follow nothing else, will be life-changing, I promise. All right, my second tip. Did I mention there were six tips? There's 6 tips. So my second one, don't keep all that crap in your own noggin. If you're not Southern, noggin equals head. Don't use your brain as storage space. Your brain is a place to think and it's a place to process. It should not have to store all the things. I'm having Friendsgiving with my friends. Cool. It would be great if I put that in my brain to remember it, but I also know that if I do that, I'm going to have too much stuff up there and it's all going to get forgotten. So in my calendar it goes. If my kids have practice, like baseball practice or basketball practice, even though I think I'll probably remember it, because it's the next day and it's really easy, or they have practice every Tuesday, I'm still going to put it in my calendar. I am not using my brain as storage for the to-dos and the things in my life. They have a home, they live somewhere, the appointments I have live on calendars, and that makes it so much easier for me to not stress about the things I'm forgetting. I do this weird thing when I go out of town, especially if I'm going to be out of town for a longer period of time. My kids are older now. They don't require a ton of extra things. They pretty well need their clothes and their toothbrush when they go to somebody else's house. They don't need diapers and snacks and things like that. But when I leave town, and I know that not only my husband, but maybe our families are going to have to help with my children while I'm gone, if I'm speaking somewhere or whatever, it is so useful for me to dump everything that's in my brain about the children that I'm worried about on a spreadsheet or a PDF or a piece of notebook paper to give them all. So then I don't feel like I am storing things in my brain that they don't know about. And it helps so much. It makes me organized because they're now presented with a PDF piece of paper that has my kids' basketball schedule on it and what happens every day and what homework is due when. And I do the same thing with the homework. So, from my kids, I have 2 children who are both in school full time. And honestly, I don't know how anybody keeps up with it beyond 2 children, but more power to you if you have that ability. I do not. But they each are on a different homework schedule. My oldest son doesn't have to turn his homework in until Friday. My youngest son, his homework goes back every single day. And so all of that is not in my brain. It is written down on a piece of paper on our refrigerator. And that way, if I'm not the one home doing homework, there's no question about it. I don't have to store that in my brain. Don't use your brain as storage space. Your brain is built to think and process and dream and do the things it's built to do. It's not really built for you to house all the to-dos in it at one time. So whether it's your regular life, your work life, your kids, your family, whatever, you need to have systems in place, whether it's a calendar or notebooks or sticky notes or whatever, to feel like you have all of that stuff in somewhere else rather than just sitting in your brain taking up space. The third thing that's going to make you a more organized person is to pad for extra or unexpected time in your day. This one is very similar to being time batching and things like that, but if you are feeling stressed, if you are running around feeling stressed because you're late for something or you forgot about something or whatever, then you are naturally going to fall back into those disorganized behaviors because things are going to go flying, nothing's going to go back into its home, all of that kind of stuff. So if you will plan for extra time that you didn't expect in your day, it will give you extra time to, after you were done eating lunch, put the dishes in the dishwasher. Or after you were done with that meeting, filing those papers away rather than letting them stack on your desk. So plan for extra time. If a meeting is going to take an hour, give yourself a 10-minute buffer afterwards to kind of clean up and switch gears for the next thing. If you are spending 20 minutes driving somewhere, give yourself 30 just in case. I promise it will help. This is one I still struggle with quite a bit because I like to get the most time I can to work. And so I will tend to leave my house when I have to get to kids' baseball games or whatever. But if I know every single time, if I pad my time, I am much more aware of what's going on and I have a lot easier time doing it. All right, I believe we're on number 4. for you to be a more organized human being, and that is to create systems. Here's what I mean by this. On your computer, if you can create a system that every time you take a screenshot, so hold on, raise of hands, if you have ever been that person where your desktop was just like covered in screenshots or covered in like things you've downloaded or just like covered in general, I 100% have. Now I have set up a thing on my iMac, which you can just Google it. I don't know the commands off the top of my head, but I've set up a thing on my iMac where every single time I take a screenshot, it automatically goes into a screenshots Dropbox folder. I know that every single time that I take a picture on my phone, it automatically uploads to 3 different places because I'm a crazy person and I don't ever want to lose my pictures. I know that all of these things are kind of happening to make organization easy. So I have set up systems where things are easy. I, again, know that after I get off the phone with a client, I'm going to go ahead in like a 2-minute period after our call, pull up their like stuff in my ClickUp board, and I'm going to dump all the notes I had. It's done. And if I didn't have the padding in my schedule, I wouldn't be able to do that. So daily rituals and processes that you can set up in like as a system to make your organization autopiloted is going to be so amazing. So that's really easy ways to do it digitally. Things that you can do in your house, like every time the laundry is done in the dryer, taking it out and folding it. And then maybe you go ahead and put it away, or maybe you leave it there until you go to bed at night. But having a system and a ritual where it feels really easy to do the things is going to make it much easier to do the things. So every single night we load our dishwasher and we wash the dishes. And then in the morning when I get up, as part of my morning routine, if you've not watched that video, if it's even come out yet, then I will unload the dishwasher and put all the dishes up so that we're ready to load it back as the morning goes on. And now that one I'm not perfect about, I won't lie. I sometimes just like dread it so bad and I just don't want to do it. But having those rituals in place keeps things organized and in their place. A ritual that I have every single night is that I clean up my downstairs. And it's so easy because I didn't let it, like it's happening every night. So have those rituals, have those systems and processes in place that make it easy to be organized and it doesn't feel like a lot of work. All right, number 5, we are almost done here. Number 5 is to find your ideal processes, situations, systems, whatever. It's one thing for me to tell you what I like to do, right? Like I like for every time I take a screenshot for it to go in a Dropbox folder. I like for every time this happens to do this, or I like every morning to unload my dishwasher. I like to plan with my calendar on Google. I don't like a paper planner. Whatever that looks like for me is going to look very different for you. You may love a paper planner. You may want to do everything in spreadsheets. You may want to organize your food in a different way than I do. You may want to have things in a different place, but find what works for you. And that's going to make it so much easier, because if it doesn't feel good to you, you're not going to do it. So regardless of what I say or what anybody else you see anywhere saying about being organized, I can promise you that if you will make it feel good for you and you will do the things that come natural to you a little more, then it will be fine, even if that's not what the traditional person is saying or looks like. So if I'm saying do it on your Google Calendar and you're like, I like my paper planner, then do it on your paper planner. If I'm saying that I create spreadsheets every time I go out of town for my kids and you'd rather write it down on a piece of paper, do it. It don't matter. It ain't no worry to anybody. At least it's organized. All right, number 6. And my last point here, if you are naturally disorganized and you're trying to kick your own booty in gear, it is to be strict with things and time. Now, I said in the beginning of this that I have a rule in my house now that if it does not have a home in my home, it doesn't stay in my home. And that is honestly the truth. That is one of these pieces of being strict. If my kids bring in slime, they know it's going in the trash. If I bring in like extra paperwork from something, I know it's going in the trash. I go to a lot of conferences, go to a lot of them, and I get a lot of business cards, and it would be really easy for me to just constantly pile them up. But one of my things I'm strict about is when I get home, I look through them. If I want to write down someone's contact information, I do that. in my own system, my own way, and I throw the rest of them away. So come up with ways to be strict with your things and your time. Be strict with what you have and where. I actually find, so my kitchen in our new house is pretty small. I don't have that much cabinet space. I don't have that many drawers. And I was really worried about it at first. But I've been in here a year and we still have cabinets that are completely empty. Now, granted, they're the ones that like are really high and I can't reach them, but they're empty. And it's because I was forced by like smaller amounts of space to downsize and be more organized with everything. And I'm not as tempted to bring other new extras into the house. I was just thinking this morning, I am cooking Friendsgiving dinner for a couple of my friends and their kids and husbands. And I need like a turkey pan to put like a big ass turkey in. And I don't have one. But I'm also like, I don't really want to buy one because I don't really want it here. So I'll probably just borrow one from my parents, like, for now. But be strict with your things and your time. Your time is just as important in being organized as your things are. So be strict with the fact that unloading the dishwasher is part of your morning routine and loading it is part of your evening routine. Be strict with the fact that after every call, you take 5 minutes to dump everything that just happened in somewhere that you can keep up with it and in a system. If you're not strict about it, it will continue to not happen. So go be more organized, y'all. That was a fun one. I was writing down topics for me to record and I'm like, this one's going to be so much fun. So go have a great day because it's a good day to have a great day. And it's a good day to go all in on all those things you want to be doing in your life, regardless of why you think you can't. Until next time, hit subscribe, and I will see you later. Bye, y'all.